So I've mentioned to you guys quite a few times, several videos, several responses to emails and messages and comments that you guys have sent me about the idea of taking stock and surveying your guild, your group, when it comes to rating, to kind of get everybody on the same page, to understand what people's wants are. And the reason why I've mentioned this so many times and the reason why I stand by it is the fact that if you are leaning one way on an issue or a topic or an idea, and the rest of your guild is leaning the complete opposite way, and regardless of what it is, loot distribution, which doesn't matter for BFA, the content that you want to do philosophically, how you think and, what is and isn't allowed within your guild. If you think one thing and the rest of your guild thinks a completely different thing, it's not going to end well. And so what I've told you guys and what I stand by is the fact that whenever you're in a situation where you're unsure of where to go, sit down with your guild and hash it out. And what I've done here is this is actually the second time I've done this, but I've created a very large survey and I presented it to my guild last week. And this was pertaining to Battle for Azeroth. Like I said, we're winding down Legion. We're starting up for BFA. Once rating hits, I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So what I want to do today with you guys is talk about the survey that I created, some of the questions on it, some of the responses. Some of them are not good responses. And I want to convey to you the type of information that you can get. Now, how did I make this survey? There are two ways that you can do it. The first is if you want to ask a very quick poll. Hey guys, we're running an alt run tonight. What do you guys want to run? There are a couple of different websites, and I'll put them in the description. The one that I really like to use because it's very quick, very easy, clean, easy to do, but it allows you to get a very quick poll of whatever you set. That's great for small things. Like I said, we're running what tonight? Tell me. Or, whatever the case might be, one singular question for your poll. But we're surveying the entire guild here. And what I've done is actually used Google, their Google Drive or Google Docs or whatever it's called now. They offer a survey feature. So if you guys are familiar with Google Drive, you have the Excel and the Word and the PowerPoint and all that stuff. You also have a survey feature. That's what I used here. So what I want to do is go through, and it's fairly intuitive, so I'm not going to tell you guys how to make the damn survey. Like it's very intuitive. I made it, so you guys can certainly figure out as well. But what I want to do is go through the questions that I asked, hopefully to give you some ideas of questions that you should be asking. So some of the questions that I asked. First and foremost, are you happy with our progress in Legion? Most of the people that were surveyed, and I'll take a step back here. The nice thing about this survey is it's anonymous unless you tell me who it is, right? If you put in the comment section, this is Chris, I'm bitching about this, that, and the other. Obviously, I'm going to be able to follow along and see all your responses, but otherwise, it's anonymous, which is a great way of allowing all of your raiders to get a fair voice out there so that they don't think, well, if I say that the guild leader sucks and I don't like him and, he has some shitty policies, that come BFA, I'm not going to get a raid spot. Don't have to worry about that. Now, we've talked about how as a good leader, as an honest, leader with integrity, you wouldn't do that anyways. But this allows your players to feel safe that they can have a voice and not worry about, some type of punishment or retribution, etc. So, first question I asked, are you overall happy with our progress in Legion? Most of them said yes. Some of them, and I left it open where I said yes, no, other. Some of them said, we would have liked to do more mythic content. We would have liked to do more content, but we felt like we were carrying a couple of people, etc. This one isn't a surprise to me. I'll be honest, and I'm probably going to do, kind of a look back at Legion, I don't know, sometime before BFA hits. But looking at the content that we did some mythic content, Emerald Nightmare, which was a lot of fun. We did some mythic content in Tomb of Sargeras, which was a lot of fun. But we fought the roster boss and we lost a lot. We wiped to the roster boss a lot. We had a lot of players that, because of real life or frustrations, kind of benched themselves or decided to move elsewhere. And it's just the trials and tribulations that go along with being part of a raiding guild. I could have done more. I could have done better. My officers could have done more and done better. We'll get to that here in a second. But overall, I think the response was positive. Now, the second question I asked, and actually second and third question, are you happy with me as the guild leader? Everyone said yes, which is a good feeling. I want people to be honest and say, if they're not happy, they're not happy. I need to know why. But yes, everybody was happy. Some of the big criticisms here, a lot of the guys that wrote responses, were very positive. I don't think you often get credit enough. But across all the guilds and games that I've rated on and played on, you're hands down my favorite guild leader. Like, stuff like that's awesome. There's another one. First off, you're a great leader. However, some of the players also said, look, you're a great leader. We love having you. You could be a little bit more strict. And again, we've talked about looking back kind of introspectively, thinking about what you can do better. And yes, that's something that I can do better. And I've mentioned it to you guys on this channel, the fact that I'm probably a little bit too lenient. And that's something that I personally need to work on. So that's something to work on. And it's something that I can commit in Legion to hold the raiders, hold me honest. My raiders, I'll ask them to do that. That's a weird way of wording it. But, make me honest. I'm going to be harder on you guys. Keep it up. Now, I asked the next set of questions. I asked specifically about my two officers. Same questions. Are you happy with them? What criticisms, comments do you have for both of them? So it was 4 questions. The guild was split 50-50. And it was the same criticisms and comments for both of them. When they are around, especially during the beginning of Legion, they're very good raid leaders. They're very good help to Chris, me. They are good officers. We really like them. But as the expansion went on, they definitely diminished in playtime. And it got to the point where we don't know these guys, or they weren't logging in, or they very clearly weren't holding up their part of their leadership duties. And looking back on it again, while I can see the reasons why, these are fair criticisms to make. And I know that my two officers, I know Rob and Blake, you guys are going to watch this. And hopefully they understand and they know that I love both of them very much. They're close friends of mine, I would say. But to be completely fair and honest, yes, they definitely the past few months have been burnt out. They haven't been hitting it as hard as they really should have. There's a lot of dirty jokes in here, a lot of phrasing issues, but they haven't been keeping up with their fair share. And it's fair to say that. So what do I do about this, right? Like, obviously the whole point of taking the survey is I want your criticisms so that I can fix it. Well, I made it very abundantly clear to my officers. We sat down about it. We had an honest look at it. I showed them the responses. Again, they can't see who typed what in. And I said, look, guys, I understand that some of the responses are biased, but a lot of them are true. A lot of them are fair criticisms of you guys. Coming into BFA, I cannot have this. I expect you guys to be online. I expect you guys to be helping me out. I expect you guys to be running Mythic Plus with the guild and making a presence. I'm not saying spend every waking moment on World of Warcraft, because I want you guys to have a life, but you got to help me out if you want to have that officer tag. If you want to be, a raider, great. If you want to help the guild, great. But if you want to be a leader, you have to be a leader. It's not just a title that you can tag on. It's something that you have to actively continue to do if you want to do it. And I think that was fair, and I think they agreed with it. And hopefully, if they didn't, if they see this video, hopefully they'll come back and go, look, I didn't sign up for this. Now, the next one, and this is a guild policy that we started kind of in the beginning of Emerald Nightmare. Should the guild continue to sell BOE, buy don't equip, items that drop during the raid? The reason why we have done this in the past is we sell them on the auction house. We use the gold to fund really anything that we want, mostly flasks and potions, etc., etc. And a good portion, 64% of the guild said yes. Some people said, you know what, I'll buy them myself. Some people said, figure out a different way of doing it to get the money to buy it. And then one person said, hey, why don't everybody just donate money or mats to the guild bank? So that's something that we will continue to do going into Legion, assuming there's BOEs and assuming, whatever. But that's just, I want everybody to be on the same page. Should the players be required to publicly trade gear as personal loot is the required system for raiding? So this is a big one. Oh, good God. This is a big one. So 64% of the guild said, yeah, publicly trade gear. And this is probably going to be the hot ticket issue for a lot of guilds in Battle for Azeroth. Again, just to be very clear for those of you that missed the video, I am not in favor of personal loot for guild raiding in Battle for Azeroth. I think it's a ridiculous, very selfish, very anti-guild loot system. And I'll tell you guys why. Many other reasons other than the video that I made the other day, last week. But should players be required to publicly trade the gear? The guild said they want that. Majority did. So that's kind of what we're going to do. Like I said, it's going to be a shit show. And a lot of the raiders said as much. It's going to be a shit show when it comes to loot. And the reason why is it is going to be so easy unless you have a guild leader or, somebody in a leadership position that is super detail oriented and keeping track of every single thing. They're going to go, well, that wasn't upgraded. And then later on trade it to a friend, or later on, give it to somebody that they wanted to give it to, as opposed to who would benefit more from it. It's a hard system to control. So what we decided ultimately, even though, and this is the thing, and I'll step back for a second. This is the thing about the surveys. I want your feedback, and I made it very explicitly clear to my guild members. I want your feedback. I really do. I want all of your feedback. Whether it's good or bad, I want it. I will consider every single piece of feedback, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to make sweeping changes, even if the majority of the guild want those sweeping changes. Ultimately, it's my guild. Ultimately, I'm the guild leader. I'm the one making the decisions, and I have a lot more to consider than just this one single piece of data. So what we've come up with is, look, if the loot drops and you get it, it's yours. I'm not going to take it away from you. You want to give it to a friend, you don't want to say anything about it, that's fine. You're only hurting the guild as a whole. You're only hurting your chance of getting gear in the future because we're not geared up enough to do it. But if that's what you want to do, then fine. You do it. But if you are smart enough and cool enough to say, hey, I don't need this, it's not an upgrade, I already have something better, I already have one of these, say something, we'll figure out who needs the loot from there. So we'll make it easy as possible. And again, a lot of the people here said, it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be frustrating. It's not a good system. We don't like it. And it's so easy to just bullshit your way through it and lie. Next one here, and this is one that you guys actually have left in the comment section and have very, very negative, kind of thumbs down on this. Should Mythic Plus continue as a requirement for rating in BFA? Assuming that the rewards are comparable to Legion. A lot of you guys in the comment section when I talked about this and I discussed the issues with it said, it's kind of silly that you guys are doing this. And maybe that's true. Maybe it is silly, but here's the thing. The Mythic Plus as a raid requirement was not my idea as a guild leader. It was not my officers' idea as leaders themselves. It was the raid's idea. Somebody said, hey, we should really try to benefit by getting more gear and do Mythic Plus. We should make it a requirement. And everybody said, yeah, we really like that. Make it a requirement. And so we made it happen. And the majority, 91% of the guild said, yeah, make it a rated requirement. Okay, cool. I didn't take this survey. I don't know if my officers did. I don't think that they did. In fact, I know based on the number of people that took the survey that they did not. But yeah, 91% of the players in my guild said, yeah, they should make it a raid requirement. Cool. I also asked, should something else be required to raid? Normal stuff: performance, attendance, attitude, gems, enchants, etc., consumables. Somebody said no pants allowed, which I think is acceptable. Normal stuff, I think. I think that's perfectly normal. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Now, here's the big one, and this is why I tell you guys, you want to make sure that you're not leaning to the left and everybody else in your guild is leaning to the right. Got to be on the same page here. What content should the guild focus on in BFA? 72% of the guild, 72.7, so we'll say 73% of the guild said mythic content. The rest of them, 27%, said they want to focus on heroic rating. Well, there you go. We will focus as best we can on mythic rating. As best we can. We will recruit, we will push people, and for that 27%, hopefully they stick around. Hopefully they do, but it's possible that those 27% of the guild, the rating group at least, because they're leaning left and we're all leaning right, they may go somewhere else, and that would suck, but I don't know what will happen. Now, the last one here, actually, it's not the last one. I can't read it. What would you like to change with the guild? Again, people complained about the some of our players, and again, I can agree with it, lacking in initiative, lacking in ability, lacking in skill, lacking in truly caring about the guild. That's a tough one to fix, because if you have a player that doesn't care, that simply is in it for themselves, it's a tough one to fix. And of course, there's a couple of jokes in there. But what would you like to change? Push people to do better. What is your desired role for BFA? Now, this is another big one. I want to know, going into BFA, do we have 10 tanks and 1 healer? Because that's going to be a problem. Do we have 0 tanks? Do we have 0 healers? So I want to ask and get kind of a general, what are people playing? Well, I didn't really get the information that I wanted. I did get that looks like 2 people want to play melee DPS. Not a big surprise there. We got 2 people that want to play range DPS. We got 2 people that want to play healers. And then we have 1 dude, which again, I didn't take the survey. 1 guy that wants to tank. And then the rest of the guild has no freaking clue what they want to play. So for a mythic rating guild to have the vast majority of our players with no idea what they want to play, we'll see. So what's your desired class? Again, same thing. 36% said no clue. We don't know. And of course, it broke down to a couple of people want to play paladins and shamans and demon hunters and whatnot. So I guess we'll see. Big one here. Would you consider transferring servers or re-rolling on another server for recruitment reasons? The server that I play on, Arthas, was a medium pop server when we moved to it back in, I don't remember, Mists of Pandaria, I think. I think it was Mists, maybe late Cataclysm. It went up to a high pop server, and then for whatever reason, you guys can tell me, the server's died out. It's a low pop server now. And so I wanted to put on the table the question of, would you as a raider consider transferring? Because I know it's expensive, or re-rolling, creating a new character on a new server. Most of the players, 64%, were down with it. They said, yeah, we'll do it. I've told them, because the topic was brought up today when I gave them the survey results, and we'll get to that here in a second. I said, hey, look, let's not make any rash decisions, if we could talk. Let's not make any crazy decisions. Let's not, kind of jump into anything. Let's wait for BFA. Let's see kind of what is going to happen. Blizzard has said, hey, look, with the PvP, PvE sharding, with the war mode on-off thing, that we're going to have to merge some servers. Cool. I called that a long time ago, didn't I? Let's see what happens, right? Because who knows? We could get merged with a medium pop or, many low pop or however they want to do it, servers. And we could have a ton of new recruits, and that would be awesome. So we'll see what happens with that one, but I did want to throw it on the table for people to understand that it may be a possibility. And then the last one here, anything else that, I want you or that you want me to say, comment on, ask, etc. A lot of people said the same thing. We had fun, but we don't like the loot system moving forward. That personal loot's not good. We don't like that, some of us are carrying people that aren't putting forth the effort, that aren't skilled enough, that aren't trying, that don't understand basics like stat weights and stat priorities and, all these things. And it's really frustrating. And I agree. There's a lot of people that said that they're unsure of what they're going to play, but, they'll let me know or they're thinking about it, couple of people still commented and said, hey, I really appreciate how patient I am, how good guild leader, all that stuff, whatever. So what did I do with all of this? Well, like I'm doing with you guys, I was very transparent with my raid, with my guild, and I said, look, here is a synopsis of everything that I just said. Essentially, I told them what I'm telling you guys here, that here is a list. It's fairly easy to work out some of the people. Some of the guys wrote their names in the comments. Hey, this is, Justin. Hey, this is, etc. I can follow, your questions and see what you said for everything else. But I was very transparent and said, hey, look, this is what everybody said. These are the responses that the majority of the guild want moving into BFA. Mythic rating, BOEs, loot, etc. These are things that I will commit to do, i.e., I'm not going to take any shit moving into BFA. I have done that for too long, too detrimental to the raid. I'm tired of it myself. My guild, the raid members are tired of it. A majority of them are. I'm going to stop doing it, and you guys need to understand right now that if you don't pick up the pace, if you don't fix these discrepancies, you're going to have a bad time. And then we got to talking, like I said, about transferring, and I said, hey, let's hold on for a second. But overall, it let me as the guild leader and the raid leader understand what my guild wants. It let me make commitments to how they want to be treated. So they're saying, hey, push us. Don't let us, kind of slack. Keep up the pace. We want to do this content, etc. And so now if somebody says, well, why are you being such a dick to me? Well, look, dude, you know what? 3 months ago, you said right here that you wanted to push into Mythic content, and now you're reverting back. So which is it? Because the guild has said they want to do Mythic content, or whatever the case might be. So either you can tag along with this and go, or you can find somewhere else. And it really lets everybody have a voice. And I think that that's super important. Yes, I'm the guild leader. Yes, I'm the final arbiter when it comes to everything in the guild. Yes, I can do whatever the fuck I want in the guild. But the fact is that it would be unfair, it would be not right for me to not give my people a chance to speak their mind. I may be the guild leader. I may have the final say, but I'm not a dictator. It's only fair that the rest of these guys be able to voice their opinions, voice their concerns, and we take care of it. Because that, as leaders, is what we do. So with all that being said, guys, hopefully you like what I said here. Hopefully you like the survey. Hopefully you can implement it. If you guys have questions, if you guys have anything that you want to know, let me know in the comments section down below. Until next time, guys, I'll see ya.